All right, betters, welcome. This is Mitch with Better Picks. Let's just go ahead and jump right into our Jupyter notebook from last time. So if you recall, we still got these. Let's just open this up. And last time we went over what's a string, what's an integer, and went through how to start filtering data. So today, just in terms of these kind of things, like for example, like the mean. Let me also just run all this for a sec. So I'll run it all. Get the same kind of output. So just in general, like if you're looking to start analyzing numbers, for example, this here, like also this is a thing. So you can see like the max score and these things, like you can just Google around and try to start finding these different ways to start analyzing. We'll get into more like actual data analysis down the line, but this again, just want to reiterate, this is extremely like the basics and foundation that everything for data analysis and eventually machine learning model building kind of rests on. So knowing these things in and out, it is really crucial if you want to start getting more advanced. Have a really solid understanding of the basics, and then the advanced stuff seems pretty easy. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is actually, we're going to start with this command called LOC and ILOC. So we're just going to look at the data frame again. So let's take a look at what it looks like. And we clearly got all the data here. And again, some of these are NAs. This just means that there's technically it's 0. So just we'll figure that out later. But this command, it's called LOC. Let me type it out. So if I type in LOC, and then what you're going to do is you're going to do these square brackets, and then LOC essentially, it corresponds to the index here. And you can see like the index is in a row. It's its own kind of like way that pandas can understand where the different rows are. Technically, you can call these row names. So in general, sometimes you might see data that has these row names instead of numbers. For now, we're just going to use the number. So LOC, if I were to just do LOC and then let's say 4, right? So let's just say that's a 4, and I run that, it's gonna show me just that data point, right? So it's gonna, if I go back, right, so you can see this is Atlanta Falcons 10, Titans 24, and if I go back to that, it's again Atlanta Falcons 10, Titans 24, blah blah blah. And this is really good if you want, I mean, eventually it's going to become really clear and important why this is necessary. And another thing you can do is with this LOC command, you can actually straight up look at specific columns. So if I wanted to see, the 4th row and then how many first downs. So if I just take that and put it in here, it'll show me that 24. So this is a way to start looking at a data frame more as like a matrix, and you can start looking at, okay, like if I want to know the points and I want to know the 5th, then I can go down here and say, right, 5th and then points, for example. So that's important in terms of being able to do that. And the most important thing, let me just see, sometimes I get this confused, I'll probably get an error. ILOC is only for integers, so I think if I were to go like 5 here, so if I look at the 4th, and again, this is actually incorrect because it's starting at 1. So if we look at the data set as a whole, so let's just look at the data set as a whole, we can see that the 4th, well, technically 5th, but the 4th index, so the 4th row, and then the 5th column, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is 0. Right, so you can start think of this as a matrix in the sense that it's, this is 0, 0, this is 0, 1, 0, 2, this is 1, 0, right? And in general, like matrices and linear algebra is really important in machine learning, but again, it seems like it'll be hard, but it really isn't. In terms of like the computer will do everything for you. It's just about knowing what's actually happening and being able to move those pieces around. So this is important, and we'll go back here because the other piece of this that is really like significant with the LOC and the ILOC. So again, remember, if you use ILOC, it just means integer, so you only can put numbers in here, whereas if you use LOC, you can put the column name. So say there's an error in the data, right? So let's say, for example, you're looking at the game and you say, oh, Carolina Panthers on September 22nd, 2019, they didn't score 38, they scored 25, for example, right? So what I can actually do is I say, and again, we want to use LOC. So I can say in row 1, column is points opponents. So I would come in and say, all right, let's look at row 1, and we're going to do points opponents. And if I just print this, it's going to say 38, right? But now if I say, actually, that should be 25. And if I run that, it's going to look like nothing happened, but check this out. Now when I run the DF, it's going to say that that's actually 25. So I just changed the data in that sense. This is a really simple but very important and crucial command that you're going to use often. So really understand how this works. I highly recommend looking at data frames almost as like a matrix. And when I say matrix, it's not like this sci-fi movie, right? It's literally like, if I just Google matrix math, and if I look at, like, this is a perfect picture, right? This is how you should start thinking about data in terms of, I mean, again, like Python is base index 0, so it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, but this is a good way to think of like, all right, what's in this cell, right? It's 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, blah, blah, blah. And it's the same thing when you look at this data set. It's almost the exact same thing, right? This is 0, team name, 0, point, 0, opponent, 1, team name, 1, point, right? Blah, blah, blah for everything. So if you can start thinking about data sets like that, it's going to make this using this command and then eventually using more machine learning techniques going to make it a lot easier. That's all for now. We'll get more into some additional things in the next episode. Thanks, guys. And again, check out the website. We got all the predictions and results. And then in addition, if you're interested in getting the data early, check out the Patreon. If you're interested in getting more data than what's currently available for free, feel free to email us at the email on the data site on the shop. And as always, best of luck